Right now, companies aren't exactly announcing massive layoffs.
Like, there are no dramatic factory closures leading the evening news.
Yeah, no workers walking out with cardboard boxes while cameras roll. Instead, jobs are just, quietly evaporating.
Exactly. A senior graphic designer leaves the company, and instead of hiring a junior designer to replace them,
Where management just hands an AI image generator to the rest of the team and basically says, do more.
right, the job didn't explode, it just disappeared.
Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we're exploring a massive stack of notes, research, and analysis surrounding an article called The Shadow of Progress, The Unseen Costs of AI. And whether you're, prepping for a big tech meeting or just insanely curious about the world, this is custom tailored for you.
Because we need to look past the relentless blinding hype.
Exactly. Our mission today is to dig into that. We all know the pitch by now, right?
Right.
Faster work, smarter systems, massive economic booms. But today, our goal is to ask the really uncomfortable, reality-based question. What is this technology quietly taking away from us while we aren't looking?
It's a critical question. And we need to establish right up front that this exploration isn't about fear-mongering.
Right, no Terminators today.
Yeah, we aren't here to spin dystopian sci-fi tales about machines taking over the grid. This is about grounded reality. It's about understanding subtle structural shifts so you can navigate this entirely new technological landscape without being completely blindsided.
I like to think about the current AI hype cycle like looking at a brilliantly lit stage. You've got these massive spotlights shining on the incredible things these models can do.
Oh, sure. Writing complex code in seconds, generating hyper-realistic art.
Diagnosing medical conditions, it's dazzling. But today, we are going backstage. We're looking at the shadow cast by those exact same spotlights, like what's hiding in the dark while we're all staring at the shiny things on center stage.
That visual works on so many levels, primarily because the things happening in those shadows aren't loud.
Right.
They don't announce themselves. They're creeping into our economic structures and, honestly, our cognitive habits without tricking any alarms.
Which brings us back to that quiet evaporation of jobs we mentioned. Before we look at what AI is doing to the macro systems of the world, we have to look at what it's doing directly to our livelihoods and our own minds.
The physical and mental offloading are happening at the exact same time.
Yeah, the source material calls this silent automation. A lot of people assume the whole story is just AI creating new, high-tech jobs like prompt engineers.
What the reality on the ground is that tools like ChatGPT, Gemini, and Claude are actively swallowing everyday tasks.
Content writing, customer support, basic coding, data entry, and companies are announcing this.
The mechanism of how this happens is what makes it so invisible and, frankly, so disruptive. When we look at historical automation, like the assembly line or robotics in manufacturing,
You could see it.
exactly. The displacement was visible and geographically concentrated. Today, silent automation operates through attrition. It's a hiring freeze that never thaws.
Wow.
A hiring freeze that never thaws, and it completely breaks the career pipeline. I mean, if a company doesn't need to hire junior developers because an AI coding assistant can just write the boilerplate code, that sounds great for their quarterly budget, right?
For now, sure.
But fast forward 5 years, where did the senior developers come from? If nobody is doing the entry-level grunt, work making mistakes, learning the architecture, you completely sever the bridge to mastery.
Right. Millions of people won't realize these entry-level gateways into their chosen careers are gone until they graduate and actually try to find one.
That's terrifying.
It's a structural hollowing out of the workforce. But, the economic shift is only half the equation here. There is a cognitive equivalent happening simultaneously. The source calls it the death of deep thinking. Okay, I have to push back on this because I hear this argument all the time. The idea that outsourcing our thinking weakens our creativity. Isn't this just like when calculators replaced mental math? I distinctly remember teachers warning us you won't always have a calculator in your pocket. And they were wrong. Society didn't collapse just because we stopped doing long division on paper. So why is losing the struggle to write a simple email any more dangerous than losing the struggle to do long division?
It's a tempting parallel, I'll give you that, but it misses a fundamental difference in the mechanics of what we are actually outsourcing. A calculator automates a deterministic, rules-based process.
Okay.
Math is objective. There's a single correct answer. But writing, analyzing, and questioning are acts of reasoning. They're subjective processes of discovery.
Oh, I see what you mean.
What's fascinating here is that when you sit down to write an email, navigating a delicate office conflict, or when you summarize a complex geopolitical event, You aren't just transcribing pre-existing
Yeah,
thought.
you're figuring out what you actually think.
Exactly. The act of writing forces you to organize chaotic information, weigh different perspectives, and discover your actual stance.
So the friction is the point. Wrestling with the words is how we build the scaffolding for our own logic.
The brain functions much like a muscle in this regard. We aren't just offloading chores, we are writing less, thinking less, and questioning less.
And if you constantly bypass that friction, that cognitive muscle begins to atrophy.
Yes, and if you lose that internal capacity to critically engage with the world, it makes you incredibly vulnerable to the next major issue the source brings up.
Which is the illusion of intelligence. Because our critical thinking muscles are getting weak from underuse, we are uniquely vulnerable to the second threat. Trusting machines that sound flawlessly human but lack actual comprehension.
We really need to be clear about what is happening under the hood here. AI does not understand the concepts it generates. It is merely a prediction engine.
Right, it doesn't actually know anything.
No. Large language models just map the statistical relationships between words across billions of web pages. When you give it a prompt, it isn't reasoning its way to an answer.
It's just calculating the mathematical probability of the next word, and then the next word.
Precisely. There is zero conscious understanding of the output.
But they deliver that output with full, unwavering confidence, even when they're completely fabricating facts.
Yeah, what the industry calls hallucinating.
Exactly. And this creates a dangerous ripple effect. We've seen students trusting incorrect historical timelines, professionals making flawed decisions.
Lawyers submitting fake case law to judges because the AI just invented it.
Yes. Here's where it gets really interesting. It reminds me of that one friend we all have who sounds absolutely certain about obscure trivia at a bar.
Oh, we all have that friend.
Right. They will look you dead in the eye and tell you something totally fabricated, but with such intense, authoritative tone that you actually pull out your phone to check. The danger of these AI models isn't that they're wrong, it's that they sound perfectly right.
And that illusion extends beyond just text. The article goes into what they call a fake reality. We are rapidly moving into an era of fractured reality through deepfakes.
Oh, wow, yeah. The source notes AI can now clone voices, generate human-like faces, create fake videos.
It's moved far beyond crude face swaps. We're talking about cloning a person's exact voice using a 3-second audio sample.
That is wild.
This raises an important question regarding how society functions when truth becomes harder to prove. Think about the deepfake technology. Fake news becomes incredibly believable. Scams become much harder to detect.
So we literally can't simply trust what we see or hear anymore. A frantic voice note from your boss asking for a wire transfer could be a clone.
Exactly. How do we maintain social trust when seeing is no longer believing? It forces us into this defensive posture of absolute skepticism.
And once we inhabit this space where we can't easily verify reality, but we're still relying on these helpful systems daily, a more insidious personal exchange begins. We start trading our privacy and our agency for convenience.
Invisible hooks.
Right. The source breaks down how privacy is quietly disappearing. Every question, every problem, every behavior pattern you feed into an AI is analyzed.
Because you don't interact with an AI the way you do a traditional search engine.
No, you talk to it like a confidant.
You give it context. You
Yeah.
feed it your messy, half-formed ideas, your anxieties, your specific behavioral frustrations. AI doesn't just respond to you, it learns about you.
And in the wrong hands, that data can influence decisions, manipulate behavior, predict actions.
It's a high-resolution map of your psychology.
Yeah.
Every interaction becomes training data.
Okay, so are we essentially carrying around a digital slot machine that knows exactly what emotional buttons to push because we willingly handed over our diaries?
That slot machine analogy is spot on. It ties into the dependency and addiction the article highlights. Because the AI is fast, helpful, and always available, people start using it for daily decisions, even emotional support.
They avoid real human interaction.
Exactly. It operates on variable ratio reinforcement. Sometimes it gives you a generic answer, but sometimes it gives you an incredibly insightful, tailored response that gives you a massive dopamine hit.
So it becomes the path of least resistance. Why navigate a tricky conversation with a real person when a machine gives you immediate validation?
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, this addictive machine is trained on flawed human data, which means it silently inherits bias, inequality, and cultural assumptions.
Right, because it's trained on the internet, and the internet is, well, full of humans.
And we are flawed. It favors certain viewpoints and reinforces stereotypes. It's a mathematical inevitability. If historical data shows a bias, The math favors that biased output.
But because it's delivered in this clean, minimalist interface, it feels objective. We don't see the bias.
The danger isn't just a biased answer. It's the terrifying scale of this invisible profiling.
Yeah.
Communities are misrepresented, and behaviors are manipulated silently at a massive scale without the user ever feeling a thing.
Which brings us to the ultimate imbalance of power. Because all of this, the silent automation, the cognitive weakening, the personal data harvesting, it all funnels up to one crucial bottleneck: the few entities holding the keys to the entire system.
Yes. The source has a stark warning about power concentration.
AI isn't controlled by a democracy. It's controlled by a few unbelievably powerful companies.
Because trading a frontier AI model costs billions of dollars. You need specialized microchips, vast server farms,
Yeah.
massive energy consumption. This isn't a couple of kids in a garage building a website.
You need the GDP of a small nation to even play.
Exactly. And whoever controls the AI controls the flow of information. Whoever controls information controls the macro systems: finance, education, media.
And whoever controls those systems controls influence over the entire population.
We are looking at a level of concentrated power that has frankly never existed before at this scale.
So what does this all mean? If these tools are amplifying our greatest weaknesses while a few companies hold all the cards, how does the listener avoid becoming a victim of silent automation or manipulation?
Well, it requires us to categorize this technology properly. We must recognize that AI is not inherently benevolent or malicious. It's a lever.
Right. It's a powerful tool that amplifies both our strength and our weaknesses. I mean, it can educate or mislead, it can empower us or replace us.
It can connect or isolate. The future will not be decided by AI itself, but by how humans choose to use it. The true danger isn't the code. The true danger is blind trust.
Wow. Yeah, it comes down to that vital question from the source material. Are you controlling AI, or is AI slowly controlling you?
It's the most important thing to ask yourself every time you open one of these apps. And I want to leave you with one last new thought to ponder beyond the source material today.
Okay.
Consider this trajectory. If AI eventually manages all of our mundane tasks, our communications, our basic problem solving, and our cognitive muscles truly do fade from lack of use. Will the ultimate luxury of the future be the ability to think an entirely original, unassisted thought?
Wait, really? An unassisted thought as a luxury?
Think about it. In a world saturated by synthetic generation, will a purely human-made thought become the rarest and most valuable commodity in the world?
That is an incredible thought to end on. A human-made thought as the ultimate commodity. Well, the spotlights of progress are definitely blinding, but it's up to you to look into the shadows. Keep wrestling with your own ideas and keep thinking for yourself. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.